The morning after the big announcement that was made at a mass meeting in Halfway Tree Square last night when the Prime Minister announced nomination day set for August 18 and the date for the general elections set at September 3. It will be the 19th general election in Jamaica, with the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party gearing up for what is likely to become a fierce battle. The election will determine the country's future leadership and direction. Prime Minister Andrew Holness's announcement last evening has sparked a campaign season that will likely focus on issues such as the economy, crime, and governance. This morning we're joined by a senior member of the JLP Communications Task Force and recently appointed Senator Marlon Morgan. Good morning, Marlon.
Good morning, Richard. Let me say good morning to your listeners.
And we also have a guest. Thank you very much for joining us, Marlon. We also have a guest, and he's a spokesman for the People's National Party, a very active member, and we're very pleased to be joined by Colin Bell, a.k.a. Shaka Faye. Morning, Colin.
Morning, Richard. Morning to your listeners. Morning, Marlon. Hi, morning, Colin.
All right, Marlon, the nation waited and waited, some would say with bated breath. Now the announcement has come. How do you personally take it, and what has this done to the base?
Well, I welcome this moment. It is what all our work leading up to this point was aimed at doing, priming our machinery, as it were, fine-tuning and tightening our messaging, and even from a government standpoint, ensuring that bolts and screws are appropriately affixed, I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And as you can appreciate, Richie B., mass meetings such as the one we saw last evening in Halfway Tree are about a show of strength. It's a critical part of political organization. It is important to energize one's base and demonstrate that as you go into an election, you can mobilize your support, particularly base support. And so all in all, I believe last evening in Halfway Tree went exceedingly well. What you saw, and I'm sure Colin would have been impressed with it as well, was a political juggernaut on show, on stage. We didn't just have a mass rally last evening. What I would like to convey to your listeners this morning is that the JLP had a production last evening, and every viewer, every onlooker at last evening could or ought to concur with me that what they saw last evening was an entire production in terms of the layout, in terms of the setup, in terms of how our respective speakers were on point and on message. You do not see any gimmicks or theatrics from our stage. You will not see any L.A. Lewis or any comedy, as it were, from our stage. What you are seeing is focused messaging, because we believe we have acquitted ourselves well these past 9.5 years. We're gunning for a third successive term, and we're saying to Jamaica, we are the safer pair of hands to entrust the governance of this country to for another 4 to 5 years, basically.
Okay.
And that's our core message.
All right. Now to you, Colin Bell. How did you see last evening's meeting, and what are your views on the date and the timing of the call or the announcement of the general election and nomination days? Hold on.
Election for some time now. The election was not actually called last night. The election was first called Saturday night in Port Antonio by the General Secretary of the People's National Party. And I dare say the election was actually also called by the Constitution. There were no more time left in terms of the convention of an election being called. And what we saw last night is a party been in power for 9 years and coming to the people, still pleading and begging and promising what they want to do. Because for the 9 years, they have kept the people hungry. It's like Bob Marley said, Richie. We see them fighting for power, but they know not the hour. So they come bribing with their old boss, spare parts and money, trying to belittle our integrity,
They say that what we know is just what they tell us. And some people are so ignorant that every time they can reach us, through political strategy, they have kept for 9 years Jamaicans hungry. And when you want to get some food, Richie, your brother have to be your enemy. What the GLP is trying is an ambush in the night. We saw it, and that's why we postponed the meeting at halfway tree and allow them to go through the formalities of calling the election. The Jamaican people are ready. They have seen what it is that this administration has to offer. The mother of all overruns in this country, Cornwall Regional, from $2 billion. They have spent over $13 billion already, and they have told us that it will cost $23 billion. Marlon Morgan told me that whatever the cost of Cornwall Regional come out to be is neither here nor there. And we are very disappointed. And the people of Jamaica, I hear the Prime Minister said that Comrades are hungry. No, it's not Comrades who are hungry, Richie. It's the people of Jamaica who are hungry. We are hungry because $1.4 billion of taxpayers' money was taken to buy 110 old buses. We are hungry because our money was used to buy used police cars, which we have not gotten. We are hungry because 24 babies died in one institution in a very short period of time, and with the Prime Minister, I've not heard them crying. So the people of Jamaica are hungry with the work or lack thereof of this administration.
All right. I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, if you can keep your responses to within a minute so that we can get a few questions that we have on the agenda. No doubt Marlon would want to respond to some of the things that you said, but also I wanted to put on the table, broaden the discussion to some of the key issues that will shape the campaign narratives of both the JLP and the PNP, starting with you, Marlon.
All right, so just to be clear, we would have heard from my good friend Colin just now, and in a campaign, and indeed in the political contest in a democracy, you will always have the narrative, the rhetoric, and the assertions from the respective sides in politics. Now, what I'm encouraging your listeners to do this morning, Richard B., is to juxtapose and seek to reconcile the assertions made by Colin Bell just now with what the facts are and the objective empirical data. The two do not reconcile. They are painting a picture of a Jamaica that simply is not the case. At present, we have record low poverty in the country, certainly in relation to from whence the PIOJ has been collecting this data. Unemployment in Jamaica is at the lowest it has ever been, a new record low of 3.3%. And all of these things taken together means that people's lives are that much more easier. You see the reforms at the SLB, for example, a number of initiatives that have come on stream, including a social pension to protect the poor and vulnerable among us. You see skills training being made readily accessible at heart to our youngsters and people generally as we seek to upskill our workforce to secure those higher paying jobs and more certified persons in the workforce that we need to really move this country leaps and bounds so that we can compete with our peers around the world. So the PNP will say what they're saying, but when you look at what the hard data is saying, it conflicts, and that is what I want to point your listeners' attention to.
Got you. Colin, your response, and what are the pillars for the campaign for the People's National Party?
In the Prime Minister's budget presentation, Richie, he told us that poverty for 2024 was 12.3%. The PIOJ came and said it's gone down to 8%. Which one do you believe?
I know you told me that you'll be driving. You're out of range right now, Colin. Are you there? Are you hearing me? No, he did say that he was.
Well, what he was alluding to, Richard B., is a data set presented by the Prime Minister where it was a mixture of World Bank estimates and
one of the small. When you talk, I don't speak, man.
No, hold on, Colin.
For a while,
what happened is that you were out of range. So he
we are continuing to you, sir, that you are chipped out for a while.
Oh, my apologies.
Your signal dropped, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
So
sorry about that.
Continue and complete your point.
So I'm saying that the Prime Minister, in his budget presentation, gave figures from the PIOJ that poverty was 12.3%. Then the PIOJ came back this year for election gimmicks and said poverty is 8.3%. Which one do we believe? The people of Jamaica are feeling the pangs of hell. Our electricity bill, Richie, in 2016, 2015, 2016 was 23 cents US per kilowatt hour. We are now paying 47 cents per kilowatt hour. So the people are feeling it. The PNP will be dealing with the emergencies. One of those emergencies is education. Our teachers leaving in drove. We are the only party that is putting forward a teacher retention plan to ensure our teachers stay in Jamaica and teach our children so that we can have the best minds. You talk about low unemployment, yes. But what are the employment? People are working below minimum wage and just about minimum wage. You have 200,000 people who are throwing boxes in Mr. Chin's supermarket. They can't survive off those salaries, Richie. We are going to move this economy from the low-tech, low-growth to a high-tech, high-growth economy.
Okay. The percentage of young people who are showing an interest in politics and in voting must be of concern to both parties. Marlon, tell us about your view and how you'll be trying to sort of get the support of the young people who have really not shown too much interest in politics recently.
Well, sadly, our political culture here in Jamaica has been characterized by indifference and apathy. You get the sense that there's a segment of the population, particularly the more youthful demographic in the country, who consider it sexy, as it were, to stay away from the polls. We have sought feverishly to make inroads in that regard, and this is not through lip service. This is through tangible action and tangible engagement, not least in terms, as I said before, reforms at the Student Loan Bureau. Many Jamaicans, Richie, from backgrounds like myself and Colin Bell, who were not able, as it were, to readily find, persons to stand as guarantors at SLB, that served as a wedge between them and accessing higher education. It is the GLP that has opened that up and teared down those barriers, as it were, to ensure that ordinary Jamaicans who do not hail from Tapanaris households like Mark Golding and Peter Bunting can readily access higher education in this country. And as I said before, skills training. The Prime Minister, when we took office in March 2016, the Prime Minister conceptualized what was called the HOPE Initiative and the National Service Corps, where youngsters were able to get meaningful engagement and go on to pursue careers, as it were, whether in the military or elsewhere in the public service or in the private sector, because we know that mainstreaming young people and providing training and upskilling opportunities to them is the way to improve their lot and improve their fortunes in this country. You
will no doubt also, from the PNP perspective, Colin, try to get more support from the youth in our country. How will that be achieved?
Well, Richie, we have been reaching out and we have been saying to them that, look here, it is politics that makes the policies in the country. So whatever you do, ensure that you play a role in employing the people who manages the affairs of the country. And it is the politicians that does that. So staying away from politics is really not the best thing to do. You hear me, Richie?
I'm hearing you clearly, yes.
Yeah, man, it's not the best thing to do. So we have been saying to them, come on board, be a part of the process. In fact, we have the most young people running as candidates in this election. We are also been saying to them that the culture and the creative industry, which a lot of young people participating, this is the way that we are going to really drive the economy. The culture and the creative industry is valued at over $3 trillion on the global stage. Jamaica is a culture and creative powerhouse. We are in the top 5 in the world, but we have not been able to really...
Oh, we lost Colin there again.
I am hearing you, Richie. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you again now. Go ahead, continue. Yes.
Right. So the culture and the creative industry is one of the things that we are going to be using to give young people an opportunity. Mm-hmm. We are looking at making $30 billion annually from this industry. So if you are a DJ, a singer, sound system selector, sound system owner, actor, actress, you are involved in the visual and the performing arts, you're a chef, you do you do painting. We are going to invest in you, and we have already committed a $1 billion annual fund for people in the culture and the creative industry, because, Richie, we are going to package Jamaica's culture for export so that we can earn that $30 billion in foreign exchange coming into this country.
Yes. I want to give each of you a minute to speak about your leaders, your respective leaders, because I think the leadership style, when everything boils down, the leadership styles of both the leaders of the major political parties will have a big impact on this election result. First of all, Marlon, what do you see as some of the strong points of your leader, Andrew Holness?
A sincere, proven performer, and his proven performance is not surprising because it is born out of his life experiences. This is a Jamaican who didn't hail from affluent or auspicious circumstances. Like many of us, he is from humble beginnings. He went through the struggles of ordinary Jamaicans, having to walk to school on some occasions, having to take out a student loan to access higher education. So Andrew Holness is one of us. He's not a British expat, as it were. He's not a person who walks around with a British passport in one pocket and a Jamaican passport in the other pocket. He's totally committed to this country, and you're seeing that he has a vision for Jamaica, and his premiership as Prime Minister, his incumbency as Prime Minister, is rolling that out, which informs his policies. And as you can see, all his policies are aimed at improving and making life easier for the people of Jamaica, whether it is in crime management and making us safer, whether it is in access to public services. You would speak of Solidarity Initiative, reverse income tax credit, and other social initiatives that are aimed at making life easier for the most vulnerable among us. You have had 8 consecutive budgets of no new taxes. The PNP has no idea what that is like. And all of the things you hear Colin Bell talk about, Colin has to appreciate that it is the strength of an economy and the management of an economy that will improve people's life and make it better for them to flourish in this country. And that's what we have been doing. And relative to the PNP, it's chalk to cheese. They have no record of performance or history in relation to delivering what we have been delivering on as government.
All right, Marlon, we heard you. The strong points of your leader, I want to get from you now, Colin Bell. Talk about Mark Golding, yes.
Yeah. We as individuals, as human beings, we don't choose our parents and we don't get to choose our family. Mark Golding was born in Jamaica and is a Jamaican 100%, and is somebody who lives in Jamaica and chooses Jamaica by choice. Mark Golding experienced as a businessman, a successful businessman who have come up through the ranks, built his business here in Jamaica and was very successful, have the experience, know what a balance sheet looks like and know what it is to make critical decisions. Mark Golding grew up on the University of the West Indies campus, both the hospital and the school, and has been around people with disability, seeing their vulnerabilities. Mark Golding is a very, very caring leader, Richie. Mark Golding understands the economy. We have seen Mark Golding when the children over there in where the war is in Ukraine, when the government of Jamaica said that the children should take a loan to get home, when bombs were dropping in Ukraine, Mark Golding went in his account and sent money for them and said, come home. That's the kind of care that we are looking for. Mark Golding, when they bulldoze the people house over Clifton and send notice to some other one in Lloydasville, Mark Golding got a lawyer to stop the people, to stop the government from moving the people off of lands that they were on in Lloydasville for many years. And that's why Mark Golding said to us that this thing about being on government land for 60 years before you can get it, we are going to cut that down to 25 years. Mark Golding, Richie, is somebody who is in this to serve the people of Jamaica, not to scrape. Everybody know Mark Golding got his money. Mark Golding is certified by the Integrity Commission. Okay. We only have one person running for Prime Minister in Jamaica, Richie, who is certified by the Integrity Commission. We will not allow a doctor who is not certified to do operation on us. We will not allow a lawyer who is not called to the bar to represent us.
I want to get
we will
one
not
more.
allow a nurse who is not certified to represent us. Why are we going to allow a man who is not certified to be Prime Minister? Mark Golding is the only certified person running for Prime Minister.
Let me get my final question in, and I want to close on a point of peace and ask both of you to encourage your supporters to maintain peace and brotherly love and so on right throughout this election campaign. First, you, Marlon.
Well, Colin Bell did indicate to you a while ago that Mark Golding was a direct beneficiary, along with Peter Bunting, not just of the largesse of slavery, but Mark Golding was a beneficiary of the greatest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich in this country. And the truth of the matter is that the businessman acumen that he's seeking to speak to was as a result of an orchestrated and a deleterious policy of the then PNP government, yes, that saw interest rates being high and people like Mark Golding lending money to the government and, of course, recouping fantastic returns. That is the business success Colin Bell is speaking of, the plundering and sweat and tears of the Jamaican people. So don't tell us rubbish about Mark Golding. So just to be very clear, we want to have an election that is free and fair, an election that returns the discourse to civility, because what we saw was Mark Golding setting in motion what we saw in recent weeks in terms of indicating to comrades that they must get wicked on them. Their General Secretary talk about when they go low, I go lower. You saw Miranda Wellington saying, if a war, Heather Miller Bennett saying, who switch must end up in a ditch, and she have our man, them, and so on. These are all irresponsible rhetoric and irresponsible comments, and our platform is a diametric opposite of the PNP's platform. We are responsible, we are on point with our messaging, and that was on show last evening in Halfway Tree Square.
All right.
And we're unequivocal in that regard. Mark Golding is the beneficiary of the largest from the enslavement of our black brothers and sisters in the country.
We heard you, Marlon.
Colin Bell must reconcile himself with that.
I want to give Colin a chance now to speak on the point of peace that we're trying to close out on. Colin, over to you, my brother.
Richie, it's a good thing that Marlon can say how Mark Golding make his money. And he could not say that Mark Golding is under investigation for illicit enrichment. There's one man who is under investigation for illicit enrichment. And I'd say to Marlon, stop your grudgeful and bad mind about Mark Golding's money. Tell us where Andrew Holness got his money. That is what you need to tell us.
Holding, cash plus.
And Marlon, I did not interrupt you. I said what you must tell her that asking you no question, and you are rude. You are rude. Obviously, your upbringing. You see me, the countryman, Marlon. And my mother tell me so when other people are talking of it.
All right. So finish your point for me, Colin.
So
yes?
Richie,
Yes, sir.
Richie, it is only one leader you have heard on the stage calling for peace, calling for restraint. Only one leader. And that's why we postponed the meeting that we were supposed to have at Crossroads. Because we first applied, we got the go-ahead from the police, and the bully tactics of badman government, Andrew Holness government badness, decide that they want to have a meeting on the same night. I have witnessed them do the same thing in Port Antonio. So we are saying to our people and to all Jamaicans, we are one Jamaican. Out of many, we are one. And we don't want one life to be lost in this election campaign because of politics. And the final thing I want to say, Richie, Bob Marley said it from Haile Selassie speech at the UN. Until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, Richie. Until the basic human rights, people building house are not bulldozed by government. Direct order from the Prime Minister to bulldoze poor people's house.
All right.
We say we are standing up for the people of Jamaica and we call for peace. The PNP always tell you the word is love.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen. From my point, let us choose respect over rivalry dialogue over division and peace over provocation.
That's right. And we don't want no blood and fire, and we don't want no war.
We are blood and fire, comrade. The blood of Jesus Christ.
All right.
And we are a third-term administration.
We're out of time. We're out of time.
Prison term loading.
Prison term loading. Listen, gentlemen, I have to go. I have a beauty queen to talk to. Have a good day, Marlon. Have a good day, Colin. Take care. Thanks for talking.